guys. So welcome back to Studio 39. It's Rob Odie with another episode of Spotlight 39. This time we've got a whole nother story to share, right? That's the whole point of this platform. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the videos because we want to grow this platform to be as big as it possibly can to help as many young athletes coming up as possible, right? That's the whole idea. Get some more eyes on some folks, get them some opportunities that they might not get. So with this, we have a young man who is currently playing college FBS D1 ball, and I'll let him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about himself, and share his story. So with that being said, the floor is yours, my man.
Hey guys. First of all, my name's Chris Ferguson. First of all, I played at UMaine when Darius was there, and now I'm currently at Liberty, playing quarterback here. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. Thank you for hitting me up and thinking about me.
Yeah, for
To
sure.
come on and kind of hopefully, speak into some of these young kids' lives, and obviously honor Darius, and be able to talk about him and just remember, the times of that season, 2018, and all the things post that he's been with us since then, and just
For sure.
the motivation and just all those things that come with that. I just want to thank you for having me on, and
Yeah. I mean, I definitely
as
appreciate you
always,
having you.
LLD, as we
Yeah,
always rock out with.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I keep the hashtags, keep them alive, man.
I know.
Two
Yeah.
plus years, man. I go strong. I
Yeah, I
dedicated
sent you
my
one the other day
my
from
whole
my game
platform, man.
after you hit me up. I had it on my wrist tape for that game. It was
Yeah, man.
pretty. It was just special to just look down and just. I don't know, man. It's something different.
Yeah,
It
no,
really is.
very different, right? Very
Yeah.
impactful for the 2018 season. So, we'll get into that here in a few minutes. But if you don't mind, take a few minutes and kind of share what your high school process looked like, right? So, walk us through at what point you started to get recruited, who started recruiting you, how that started, whether if it was social media, via telephone, however it was for you specifically, and just kind of walk us through a little bit of that process,
Yeah.
if you don't
So I
mind.
had a pretty interesting process, and I think for guys out there that maybe are in their junior year, senior years, and maybe are getting the love they want, they should really listen and listen closely because, for me, I transferred to LaSalle College High School, which was a private school right near me, after my freshman year at a public school, and I was hoping I'd get 3 years starting there, get some great coaching, and then go play big ball somewhere, and then I was met with Kyle Shermer, who was son of Pat Shermer. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles who got hired, right?
How'd
So,
that work out?
he comes in about 2 weeks later, and I said, man. So he obviously he had to step on me knowledge wise, physical talents wise, those kind of things. I was hanging with him throwing and stuff, but he was gonna have the edge. So I actually sat for 2 years, and watched him
Wow.
play, and but I got to learn a lot. He taught me a bunch. Got to get a bunch of coaching, and then I was kind of primed for my senior season. But I was going into my senior season with no recruiting. No schools really reaching out besides maybe some D3s that were kind of waiting on my season to see how I did.
Oh yeah.
Things like that as the season went on. Same thing, some D2s, some D3s reaching out, coming to watch me practice. I was like, but I think the biggest thing always was that I believed in myself and I knew that, I could be a special player and that I had the talent and had the knowledge. And, all I needed was that opportunity to kind of show it and, get on the field and, play ball and just
Oh
get
yeah.
film there. So
Hard to
I
get film
think
from the bench, right?
yeah, you can't get film on the bench. That's right. But I was making my sophomore and juniors making highlight tapes from scrimmages, and maybe there's some scrap time, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? But so going into the senior year, we got to play a lot of games. We ended up winning our league that year, which we didn't do for about 3 years prior. So we
Okay.
ended up winning the league
So
that year, and then
so you
going to
finally
state.
start and you win the championship, right?
I know it was
How
pretty
does that
exciting,
work
man.
out?
Yeah, it was pretty
Wonder how
exciting, and
Coach Shermer likes that, right? No, I'm playing.
yeah, they were
Obviously, I'm an
awesome, man.
Eagles
His
fan,
dad.
so
Yeah, I don't know. I forget where his dad's at now. He was awesome too.
yeah.
We got to go to the NovaCare once and got
Oh
to
man.
throw around there, which was pretty cool.
See, I
But
envy you for that.
yeah, and then so, going from there, got some film out there. And then, after after that year, in December, I got my call from Bryant, and they came and saw me at Bryant
Okay.
University. So that was my first offer. And I thought, I got my first offer. They're going to start rolling in.
Full ride
And
or,
really,
preferred walk on?
uh, it was like, it was about 90%, I think they
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Yep. So he came and saw me. It was Coach Marty Fine. He came out and saw me, and then me and my pops ended up going out taking a visit up there, and they do the whole, when you go to a college and you're high school, you go to the college, you do your visit,
Oh
and then
yeah.
once the visit's over, they want to press you. They kind of want to put you on the hot seat and say, all right,
Oh
you
yeah.
coming? They want to know right away, and that's where you kind of,
They want that. They
if you're
want that
with your
firm commitment. They
parents,
go for the close.
right?
That's
So
the
when you're
job,
with, it's
right?
like a business deal. It
That's it.
really is. So
Yeah.
when with your parents or whatever, you got to say, if you can, you want to take that extra time as much as you can to really, think it through and weigh your options. Cause, once you give them your word, it's important, but it's still not everything at the
Oh
end of
yeah.
the day. And I'll get to that, so they did, I got pressed a little bit, I gave them my
Okay.
word cause I'm sitting here that's my only offer. I got no other options. And then, I go home, and then Maine calls, and, it was Liam Cohen, the offensive
Okay.
coordinator at the time,
Yep.
who just played 4 years at UMass, almost won a national championship, was with, coaching quarterbacks at UMass and some different schools. And I'm like, this is probably the guy I want to learn from.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I ended up, telling the guys at Brian I'm going up there to visit. I'm going on official up there. They didn't want me to, obviously. They sent me some stats, like, showing me the difference between Bryant and Maine. They're going to try to get you.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh
going to,
yeah.
just like a business deal, they're going to try to, reel you back and, say, hey, look, our school's this and we got this. It's closer to home. We're playing schools near you next year or something like that. Which is good. That's what, if I was a college coach, I'd be trying to do the same thing to get a
Heck
kid.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Bring the kid home. His family and friends can come watch. Easy trip back
exactly.
and forth. Yeah.
Yep. So I think during this process, I think, the main coaches came down and saw me at my high school, and they came on a they come on a home visit.
Okay.
Coach H, Coach Heatherman, Coach Ryan, all those boys came out, which was
They brought
pretty
they brought
cool.
the defensive squad and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
they brought Coach Nick. He was out there. That's kind of a funny story we talk about often, because it's funny. Those guys are coming in. They don't really know who I am, my
Oh
family,
yeah.
and then by the time I'm leaving, we're tight as ever. They know my parents really well. You really develop those relationships in college. So,
Yeah. They
and
certainly build
then,
relationships pretty quick. That's for sure.
yeah, man, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Especially, I feel like at Liberty right now, just sidetrack. That's kind of one of the biggest things right now. I'm focusing on just being second string. It's like it's tough,
Oh
but
yeah.
one of the things that lasts forever is relationships. So
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of great dudes here that I'm just trying to pour into and build relationships with, that I know that are going to last beyond
Oh yeah.
college football, and
Yeah. There's
that's
a
only such a short part.
You guys got a ton of talent on the team this year for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So then back to that, so then I took my visit up there, and me and my dad walked out of the office after Coach H talked to us, and I said, I think I got to go back in there and tell him I'm coming. He's like, yeah, you
Oh.
do. Yeah, we knew right away.
It
So
was
I
a
had to
wrap.
call up. So this is the tough part. I had to call up Bryant and say, hey, listen, I'm going to commit to Maine. I had to decommit from them and commit to Maine, which was tough.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that conversation,
They
wasn't easy on your
definitely,
part.
yeah, I think when I told them I was going to Maine, they told me, oh, no, it's 100% now. They put it at 90, then they changed it to 100% scholarship. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
that's great. Yeah, they had to get it going because I told them Maine gave me that full offer.
Right.
But those in itself, I mean, I think at the end of the day, just because I got to play my senior year, you can feel under recruited, and anybody at Maine will tell you the same thing. That's what, when you go there, you kind of feel like you're under recruited in a way. But
Oh yeah.
going to Maine is one of the biggest blessings in my life. And guy, you've seen it. You've seen guys up there how tough they are, and they
It's
get it
it's
from the
like no
mud.
other.
And yeah, man. And I mean, they're guys that all have a chip on their shoulder and just
Yep.
love playing football. They're tough dudes. And you just got to learn to make it up there on your own. You mature really quick. And these are all these things I had no clue about, but
Yeah. I mean,
you
coming
know,
from Pennsylvania going up to Maine,
you
I'm
got
sure it was
no
a little
clue.
culture shock, right?
yeah, so I think, going on my visit, one thing I'd say to younger kids too is like talk as much as you can to the kids on the team.
Oh
Like
yeah,
those
ask
guys are
questions, build those relationships. Yeah,
right. Coaches are gonna tell you, they
they're
might
gonna sell you
sugarcoat
is
some
what they're gonna
things.
do.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna sugarcoat some things, and some of this, most of the stuff's gonna be true. But at the end of the day, you gotta talk to players because they're gonna keep it real with you.
Oh
Like
yeah,
whenever I had recruits or people come, like I kept it real with them at Maine, and I told them like, bro, this place is it's special, but it's different. Like if you got offered JMU, places like that, it's gonna be a lot different than it is here. But guess what? Like, you're gonna learn to play. You're gonna be a really good football player here, and you're
oh
gonna learn to
yeah.
be tough, and you're
Well
gonna mature
coached.
quick, become a
Yeah.
man. Correct. All those things that like you might get somewhere else. I'm not sure, but and then the other part was being up there, just away from everybody else, and secluded in that kind of old, their own space, and I'm sure
Very
there's a lot
corner
of
of the
schools
world,
that
right?
I know, man.
There ain't
The
much to
tip of
do.
the
At least
world.
the few times I've been there, I haven't found much to do. But I did find I think it's the coffee pot sandwich shop. That's my
The coffee
go-to.
pot. I ain't
Yeah.
seen that.
Oh
Pretty good.
man, I don't know. It was on Yelp, man. Like when I Googled what to do up there, it was the go-to sandwich spot. So I get
That's
there and
awesome.
apparently they're sold out of like all their rolls by like 1 o'clock after their lunch rush, and then they
That's
close.
awesome.
But it's a
That's great.
fantastic sandwich. So yeah, I learned
Awesome.
some things.
Yeah. So it's definitely different, but and then so I had to call. That was one of the harder parts. But I mean, if you make a verbal, it's great, and like coaches are kind of banking on you. But I mean, if your heart tells you something, if God's telling you something different, then you got to roll with that. And
Oh, I mean that's for sure.
when
I
you
mean,
do, yeah,
I was gonna say I won't cut you off, but I'll keep it short. But I mean, that's precisely what happened with Darius. I mean,
really,
no kidding. We all thought, including himself, that he was going to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. Like that's what we thought. That was his lifelong childhood school that he wanted to play for. We took several visits to Blacksburg, several visits to JMU. They were coming hard, and then kind of out of nowhere, Coach Burkett, hit him up, and they chopped it up a little bit. And then the 11th hour, man, I think he flew out on that Thursday or Friday, right before signing day, like the weekend of signing day. So he goes out there, and then he hits me up and was like, "I think I'm going to commit to the University of Maine." I said, "What? What are you talking about?"
but
Because that's literally the only school I didn't take him on his recruit to, his visit to, and it was because it was in the middle of winter. I mean, January in Maine is not
yeah,
January in Virginia.
I'm good.
You know what I mean? Like
I know
it's
now.
yeah. So by no means could I, just come out of pocket $700+ for a flight and then 13 plus hours in snowy weather. I was like, look, man, I'm gonna sit this one out. I said, but walk me through
Good
the
luck.
process. And so he got up there and he said it felt like home. And I was like, what do you mean it felt like home? Like, where the hell is Maine? So I'm Googling, I'm trying to figure out, what type of program it is. Was it
Yeah,
D1? I had no clue,
that's
and I
awesome.
managed to learn quite a bit. And when he got back, he was really sold on the fact that it felt like home. And I mean, we live in a small town here in Virginia, and when he got there, it just felt right. Felt completely different than anything that he's felt before. And I said, look, it's your decision. 4 years of your life is going to be committed to wherever you decide to go, and ultimately, it's where you find it in your heart that you're going to be most comfortable. And it was the University of Maine. I was like, okay, well, if you get playing time, I'm going to drive 13 plus hours. I'm going to come see you play in Maine. I said, I might come to one home game, but I'll see you on the road. so, sure enough, I stayed true to my word. Obviously on opening day, we brought 16 family members up there, and it was a first class experience through and through. I mean, the university is second to none. Um, and like you said, special is probably the best word, to
Yeah,
describe 2018. It was very difficult, but it was very special at the same time. So yeah,
I mean, I've
things
really
things can
never heard
change
that
pretty
story.
quick. You know what I
I've
mean?
never heard that story, man. Like that.
Yeah.
That's really like touching me right now because that is like I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, I never knew that was the case that he went up there.
yes.
Like
So,
this is it.
Coach Foster, Coach Foster from Virginia Tech, he came down the Monday of their bowl week to his high school to give them one last conversation. just to try to get him to, say, "Hey, I'm coming," and it didn't work. So yeah, very interesting how things play out. Everything happens for a reason, obviously, right? And Maine is what felt like home, and it's a very small town, as you're well aware, and it's precisely what we basically live in here, minus the weather difference. And that's what led him to Maine. And then when he got there, he would he texted me. I was checking in on him, seeing how he was doing, how camp was going, and he said that he felt like he was getting so much stronger in the short time that he was already there. He said the workouts were so much more intense than high school, man. And I mean, he was a very, very fit young man, but
Yeah.
man, like it was for him to say that a workout was hard. It had to be hard. I mean,
Yeah.
because I mean that boy put in the work 24/7, and it's just it's very unfortunate how things happen, but it's what God had in mind, and whatever that reason is, whether we find out or we don't, it happened for a reason. And now I'm trying to do my part and give back in his name and his honor. So I didn't want to steer too far, but I figured I would share that story just because it was kind of similar to your path. You were thinking you were going somewhere, and then kind of the 11th hour you switched it up, and same way with him, except he switched from his dream school to a school that, well, I would kid around with him and tell him, you better learn how to ice fish because I don't know what else to do up there. You know what I mean? So,
That's why we're
but
here, man. That's why we're talking about this. That's why we're doing this podcast. That's why
yeah,
we got that beautiful memorial behind you. I mean, those things are just. I mean, it's really that story in itself is like I'll always remember that, and like this moment right now, I'll always remember just because of
that's
that.
awesome, man.
Really, that's
Yep.
awesome. And not to mention, we play Virginia Tech next week.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's gonna be a
cool.
fun game.
And now
That's
we're
gonna
gonna
be a
have to
fun
whip
game to
on
watch.
them
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man, speaking of
dang.
this time,
Yeah.
obviously UMaine was scheduled initially to play JMU on Saturday.
Really?
Yes, that
Wow.
was the one game that he had circled on his calendar that he was looking forward to out of all 4 years. He was coming home to play against the school that recruited him pretty heavily, and the previous coaching staff there, fed him on some stories and some things that maybe weren't necessarily completely in line.
Yeah.
I'll keep it professional in that manner.
Right.
And he was really looking forward to coming back home and playing in front of his friends and family, and really showing out against the school that that he could have gone to.
That's
So
awesome.
it was a big game, but unfortunately now it's not happening. So
I know.
I got to look forward to spring ball and hope that they'll allow some people, because I'm trying to be on the sidelines, man.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
know. I'm hoping. I'm even hoping maybe we get a spring break or something, and I can go up and see a game, or if
yeah,
there's a play game, that'd be awesome.
yeah. I was gonna say,
That'd
I
be
linked
able
up
to see it.
with Jamel and Ernest. I'm if we can be there, we're gonna be there.
Heck yeah.
And then hopefully I'll be able to meet Pat, because he mentioned he was gonna try to show out to a couple games. So it'd be nice to have a nice reunion, man.
Yeah.
Not
With
that I'm
Car.
not that I'm in anybody, but
Heck
I
yeah, you are.
I
You're
just
right.
feel like part of the family, just because
You
I
should,
stay in
brother.
communication.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's get back on track though, man. Let's get back on track.
Yeah.
So you called Bryant, you gave them the hard news that they didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Committed to UMaine, right? So once you transition from high school to college,
Right.
what was different for you? What are some of the things that really stood out um, compared to high school ball? Because coming from a private school, it's more of a college type environment, or at least
Right.
the private schools I know of, like Fourth Union and such down here.
Right.
So yeah, what was that transition for you? How was
I
that?
think, getting there in the summer, obviously, like you said, like Darius said, those workouts are legit.
Yeah,
Kind of wherever you go, you're gonna feel a little different than high school ball. Just the amount of work that goes into it. We're coming in, we're getting running in, we're lifting. You go home, you gotta make your own food. First of all, you gotta make all your meals. You gotta go
ramen
shopping.
noodles,
Like
5 days a
what,
week.
dude? Yeah, bro. We go shopping. I'm buying like heads of broccoli. I'm like, come on, man. I don't know what am I supposed to do with this?
Chop
Get
it
the
up, throw
frozen
some dressing
broccoli,
on
brother.
it.
Yeah, go get that frozen broccoli. And then you come back for throwing or film, whatever that is. Those kind of things. It just especially like the film part of it going into college, like that's just so much more important. And, you learn how to watch film and how to, prepare for a game, things like that, that you kind of start in the summer. You start watching the offense, figuring it out,
Sure.
or defense, if, for a defensive guy. But the coolest thing, I thought was being around your teammates that like become your brothers and your family like so quickly.
Oh yeah, I
You're
can
just thrown
imagine.
right into the fire, right? And you're a freshman going to, for me, to Maine from Pennsylvania, just
Having no
in the
idea who
middle of
those people
nowhere.
are, and they're becoming your best friends,
Yes,
overnight,
and like,
basically.
yeah, like those guys you came in with, just seeing everybody develop, and just where we are today, and how close I am with dudes that I'm still talking to Jamil, I'm still talking to Cody Levy, who's played right tackle.
Nice.
A lot of different guys that just played different positions, from defensive guys. It's just, that's the amazing part. Like you don't realize that at first, but and then high school too. I still have guys from the football team that I'm just so tight with, and that I'm
Nice.
still FaceTiming all the time. And I think that's football in general. It
And
just
they've
brings
kind of
people
drifted their
together,
own
man.
path, I would imagine, right? Some still
Yeah,
playing ball,
exactly.
some in the workforce. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool too. It's like, now you have all these different perspectives too, of like understanding, where people are in life, and what you have, look forward to or not look forward to in
Yeah,
the sense
yeah.
of the workforce.
I mean, if you think about Jeff, I mean,
Yeah,
wha-
he's killing it.
he landed a phenomenal gig out in
What?
Nebraska, man. Like he is, I'm super proud of him, man. Like that's
Yeah,
huge. He
yeah,
was a hell of a talent on the field, and that much better of a person off the field, and it really took him to where he's at today. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
yeah,
With what he's been
definitely.
able to accomplish. So yeah, I mean, no matter
Yeah,
which your path, which way your path takes you. I mean, you could play ball, for the chunk of your life, or you could, take the road to the workforce like he did and really make something, out of yourself. It's just really what you make of it, right? It's
right.
the path that you choose. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's going to college with that open mind to say, hey, I'm gonna kind of become my own person and
Oh
figure
yeah.
out who I truly am without my parents or high school people, or your family around. Like, you really learn who you are and what you're about, where your morals are at.
That's it.
If you got how strong your faith is, you're gonna learn that aspect in college. And those are the kind of things that you develop habits now that are gonna last a lifetime.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's something I've been told before, is like, what you're doing today and the habits you're developing, and the way you treat people, the way you treat women, all those different things. That's how you're gonna do it in
Oh yeah.
10 years, 20 years. It's gonna be the same thing. You know what I mean? Or if it's not, it's gonna be pretty hard to change. So those are the
Yep.
things going to college, off the field, that I try to kind of learned, through my years looking back, that those are the real things that developed. And it's not gonna be perfect. I mean, I made so many mistakes over the
I can
time, and
imagine. I
so
mean,
many
we're human,
mistakes.
right?
Yeah, freshman year, so many things that I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. But those are the things that made me who I am today. And I learned
Oh
and said,
yeah.
hey, that's probably, maybe I should change that. But you got time right now, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
going into college, you got time to kind of figure out, to experiment a little bit, figure out who you want to be, and what you want to be about, what you stand for. So those are the things that I think for a young kid going into play football, or just going to school, if you're watching this, like, those are the things that you kind of have to look forward to in college.
Yeah. So once you got on campus, right? I think Drew was still starting quarterback before he transitioned to tight end, or
It was
how does
Collins, right? Yeah, it was Collins and Drew. They were Dan
okay.
Collins and Drew were kind of fighting it out.
And then you took the starting role 2018, 2017,
2017. Yep.
17.
So
Okay.
Dan Collins played senior year,
Okay.
and then he graduated, and then redshirt freshman year it was me, Drew, and then graduate transfer, kind of
Okay.
compete. And I won the job, and then Drew went to tight end, and that was awesome. We connected. I remember second game he caught a
Yeah.
touchdown, and it was pretty miraculous just to see him switch
Yeah.
over so quickly and just
I'll
do
say he
such a
had
good
a
job.
hell of a year,
Yeah, and then
in
by
18 as a
2018
tight
he
end.
was
So
unbelievable. Yeah, and then he got opportunities with the Cardinals, the Redskins,
yeah,
different places to play ball. I think he's gonna maybe start being a coach here soon, which is pretty cool to
man, that's
see.
cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, 2018, man, maybe we should get onto that.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
um, no, I
What
think,
did it mean to you specifically?
yeah. I mean, I still remember like everything from that day. I remember like very, very, very precisely. Just I was actually up doing homework, and just everything kind of went down. And I remember just our team coming together. in the team room, and it was actually Coach Nick. Coach H was away, and Coach Nick kind of
Yeah, I
told everyone
think
what was
I
going
think
on.
Joe was in Baltimore for the media day, right?
The media day, yeah.
Yeah.
And Coach Nick told us all what was going on, and we were just, and I just remember sitting with some of the younger guys and just praying over them, just out loud, just trying to, be there for them and be there with our team. And, um, you know, when we talk about, for reasons that we don't know, we don't know about what these reasons are, what God has planned. As you were playing God's plan before this, I just feel every time I hear that song, like
I
immediately,
I open it up
immediately,
every
right?
single show, man. I open it up. I give it a few seconds just to play with the background. I think it's the right thing to do because
Get you in the
it,
headspace of just
it,
like being
it
thankful and like
that's
being
that's
just
it,
thinking
man.
about, yeah. And I know you got an unbelievable relationship with him, so he probably just brings back so many great memories with him too, and
It
just
does. It
so
does.
many things that so many blessings probably that brought to your life. But and then as we went on that year, just talking about like bringing running out with his jersey in a game, and you
Every
know
week. Every week.
when we won the CA championship and you guys all being there and his mom being there, like that moment in time, like it's like still pictured in my head. And I
Yeah, that
just
was
remember
powerful.
like, tearing up. Like it was one of the most magical things. But that alone, like, I mean, if we want to talk about a reason like that, he was a reason that we did what we did that year. Without a
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Like there's literally zero doubt in my mind that is why we went that far. That's why,
That's
like,
what everybody I've talked to says thus far. I mean, there was
yeah,
plays that most of the time wouldn't happen.
yeah.
And I mean, I remember, Sterling Sheffield, making a goal line stance.
That's
Um,
how, oh
at
my God.
Towson, right? Well, it was Towson, I believe,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yep.
and I'm me and Cameron are just in the end zone, and we got to witness it. I think y'all held them to a goal line stance, went on
Yeah.
three down straight, and
Yep.
it was nuts. And then obviously big play after big play. I mean, Ernest just, I mean, he showed out. I mean, he
Heck
had
yeah.
a heck of a year. I mean, there was just moment after moment that you couldn't replicate if you tried.
No.
You know,
No.
and I think all those things, whether you're spiritual, you're religious, whatever the case may be, you know, he was there. He was there, no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, he was on
Yeah.
the field with you, as the 12th
1,000%
man for sure.
every day.
And, and,
Yeah.
and you could just feel it. You could feel it from when we got there opening day, and we were on the sidelines and the first touchdown, the game, big play, right? And then we had I think what was it, Joey Fitzpatrick? I don't want to mess up
Yeah.
his name,
He
right?
leaped it.
Yeah, when he had the leaping touchdown literally right beside us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, moments like that were just, they were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And obviously, I traveled to quite a few away games, as you're well aware.
Mhm.
I told you, I was coming to Elon, right? And sure
Yep.
enough, I show up just outside of,
Yeah.
in North Carolina, right? So, yeah, I mean, just so many things that were very, very special. And I think a lot of good came out of that. Obviously, coaching staff changed.
Hmm.
There was opportunities that arose because of that, right?
Correct.
We had plenty of players that got opportunities in the league,
Yep.
that not that doesn't typically happen coming out of UMaine as heavy
Yeah.
as it has been here recently. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the power of belief, and I
Yeah.
think it was very special. So
Yeah. No, without a doubt. I mean, he was the glue to the team. I think at the end of the day, like he brought people together. He showed people that, you know, you can be vulnerable and like
oh
you
yeah,
can you can weep and you
you
can
can be a
have those
human,
emotions.
right?
Correct, man. And
Yeah,
like that's what like when you
and not
show
have to
those
do
things,
it behind
especially
closed doors.
yeah, especially on a football team where you can do those things, like that opens a lot of doors to just, coming together
Oh
and
yeah,
like truly being like, a strong culture and like a culture that, of people that really care for each other and love each other and will do anything on the field, off the field for each other. I think that's what I saw, being a part of the team. It's just
no,
like
definitely.
day in and day out. That's what it was all about. It was all about each other. It was never me. It was always, about the
Yeah.
other person. And I think, I know Darius would be the same way, a
Oh
thousand
yeah.
percent. He would do anything for the team,
Yeah, I
anything.
mean, if you get an opportunity, I had a conversation with Donald Brooks, who was actually he was a freshman coming in when Bubby was a senior. So he shares a story on how he got on the bus and he saw Darius sitting in the chair by himself, and the bus was pretty full, so he was kind of nervous to go see if he could sit by him,
Yeah,
and Bubby was like, "Hey man, come sit over here,"
that's
and
awesome.
that's just that goes to show who he is. I mean,
Right.
you know, he shares the story on how he was basically sitting beside the best player on the team. He was so nervous, and
Yeah,
he just turned out to be a real dude. He had genuine conversation. He was giving him some advice,
that's
and
awesome.
that's exactly who he was. I mean, he was
Yeah,
a hell of a competitor. He was a machine on the field,
right.
but he was one of the nicest guys you would ever meet.
Yeah.
Very quiet, but one of the nicest guys you could ever
I mean,
meet.
look at
Very
that smile, man.
Oh, that's $1 million smile, isn't it? I'm still
Heck yeah.
practicing mine. I'll never get there, but you know what? It's his little nephew though. His little nephew is a little mini him.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's awesome.
that's cool,
I
man.
think two stories. Well, one, do you remember Rhode Island where that game-winning kick was
Oh
from?
yeah, oh yeah.
39-yard line. I mean, come on now.
I was
Gotcha.
watching that on. I subscribed to Flow Sports so I could watch y'all
Those sports,
for the
baby.
few that I couldn't get to it, man. I was sitting on the couch. My
Yeah.
wife wasn't necessarily happy all the time, because I'm glued to football, but that's just
Hey,
who
she
I
got
am,
to
man.
understand.
Football season,
And then,
it's more special now than it's ever been. So
yeah, that was unbelievable. And then
coming
when,
back from what 21 or whatever it was against Western Kentucky.
oh yeah, that was wild. Don't
What
even,
was
yeah,
that?
those things are
The
just like,
block
come on,
kick,
like
you know,
insane. Yeah, insane. Like yeah, those moments cannot be
Villanova. What do you kick
recreated.
a 50 plus
52
yarder?
yarder. I was
You-
hurt that game too. I think it was like 10-12. We won.
I mean, just so
Wild.
many things.
Yeah.
You made a pick.
And then I think the other story was a Twitter video when it was his birthday
Uh huh.
and the black bear showed up on the back porch.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That was my wife. Yeah, she sent me that video. I was like how crazy is that, right?
Like, God
Like
is funny, man.
I
Like
mean,
he really,
we've had bear sightings, but not very often. And the fact that it was on his birthday, literally on the back deck, basically
like it
saying
was
hi.
literally him. It was
Yeah,
literally
no,
him.
I was I
That is
was
still a story when I think about. I remember watching it for the first time. I had like the craziest chills, and then
yeah. I mean,
I told my sister one day, and I told her, and she was getting chills, and I was just like, it's because it happened was I was driving the other a couple weeks ago, and I'm in Virginia now, obviously.
oh yeah,
I swear I was driving, and I swear a black bear like drove, like just was. I was driving, and the black bear like it was like a baby cub, and it was probably like a teenager or something. And it was like off the road, and it went in my lights, and I was like, that was a black bear. And I was like, I've never seen a black bear in my life. And I was like, I'm in Virginia right now. And then it made me think of that story. And I
oh
was
yeah,
like, and it was just like right around when you hit me up. I was like, that's Darius.
yeah. I mean,
I
it's
was like,
crazy, man.
I'm
Crazy
telling
how
you,
things work. That's for sure.
like been in Maine, never saw a bear, nothing. And I was like, that was a black bear, like
Right.
1,000%. Like
In
this
Maine, you
is,
would think you'd see a bear, right?
yeah, but Virginia. So I looked it up. It's like black bears are the only thing in Virginia, right? The only
That's
bear.
that's pretty much it. I mean, like I
That's
said,
insane,
there are few far in between the sightings, but I mean, the fact that it was that day was just
dude.
it was him. Like there was
It's
no
divine.
other way around it, man.
It's
Like,
divine.
yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, those are some good stories.
Yeah, man. So I'm not going to take up a whole lot more of your time, man. We've been cutting it up for a little while,
Yeah,
and I certainly appreciate sharing some stories, man. A couple of them got me a little choked up. If you can't see the fluster in my
I know,
face,
man. Seriously.
yeah. But we'll kind of end it with if you got some advice that you wouldn't mind lending to these young folks that'll watch this, and what can they learn from your not necessarily mistakes, because hopefully we live life with no regrets,
Right.
but things that you've learned. What is some advice that you would give these young folks that are looking to basically sell themselves, recruit themselves, and try to play at the next level.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about some good stuff, and right now in this day and age, I mean, social media is like it's king, unfortunately. Which I mean, I don't love it, but at the
You and
end
me
of the day,
both, man. Deleted it
like
cold turkey 10 years ago. But
yeah,
I
man.
mean,
Like I'm
obviously
getting
Twitter is a, it's a
yeah,
different story. It's a dedication, but
yeah.
other than
Like
that,
just
I don't
I
use
don't
it.
know. Instagram and those things are just kind of getting too, materialistic or just
Oh
like
yeah.
whatever it is these days. And but the Twitter is like really probably one of the biggest tools you can use, just to, that's kind of how, through Liberty I put a tweet out, got an article out, and then they hit me up on Twitter, and then I went from there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like thinking about it, like that's really how people, get their name out there.
Yep.
And I try to be, I think when you're in, like, you got to be as proactive as you can. You got to email as many coaches as you can. And at the end of the day, like the more you can get your name out there, the more you can just reach out to people, on the team or whatever you got to do. Like, cause at the end of the day, you got to have that belief in yourself. First of all, like you got to know you can play anywhere, and you got to know you can, go somewhere. And even if you freaking get a walk-on opportunity, whatever it is, take
Oh
that
yeah.
and run. There's so many kids that you hear of, walk on somewhere, start, get a scholarship, and then now they're in the NFL for however many years,
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how you get your opportunity. Like if you get one, take it and run with it,
Yeah.
And with the social media, make sure and that, it's clean. There's nothing on there that would say, hey, maybe this guy's not, the right character guy we want,
Sure.
or, not to mention, your grades. If you're going to promote your grades on there, make sure those things are up there and they're good. You need
Oh,
to
for
have,
sure.
the good grades. And I think they're doing away with the SATs now for
Are
some
they?
stuff, right? Yeah, something weird, like
I was gonna
crazy,
say
like
that was one of Darius's
yeah,
Achilles heels, right? I mean
right,
it was difficult. He had to take it a few times, but he got
yeah,
through it. It's
yeah,
grades are very important. I try to stress that every conversation I have. Make sure
yeah,
you're just as good in the classroom as you are on the field.
right,
And like you said, be super proactive on specifically Twitter. I mean, Twitter is
yeah,
where the recruitment really happens. I don't know, obviously I wasn't recruited, so I don't know that they were, they utilize Facebook and, other platforms, but I know based on Darius, it was Twitter pretty much 100%,
yeah,
is where all the communication came from. And that's exactly what I try to, stress when you're trying to
correct,
sell yourself, do it on Twitter
yeah,
because
yeah,
that's where all the eyes are.
exactly. And I think the last thing for my whole college career is there's no substitute for hard work.
That's it.
There's zero substitute. You either put the time in or you don't. I mean, you either want it or you don't. You either have goals and you want to achieve them, or you're just okay with being okay, or you're okay with being playing a little bit, or maybe maybe getting your degree, maybe going to that Division 1 school. Those are the things you gotta commit to. I think that's the
Sure.
biggest thing. Commitment. That's where that hard work will come from. So when you go to college, there's always going to be mandatory, lifts and mandatory workouts, but film is optional. Getting those treatments is optional. Getting
Yeah.
extra workouts in is optional. Throwing is optional in the off season. All those things that, you got to create, you got to become mandatory in your head, and you got to put the work in. And that'll, you show kids on the team that you're about your business.
Oh yeah.
One thing I know Darius would have done is he would have shown people he's about his business. He probably would have been playing pretty early there, just from what you've said, and from what I know, just the short time he was there, is that he would have put the work in every day, and put those extra hours in to become great. I mean, if you
Oh,
ask
most
Jamil or
definitely.
Ernest, all those dudes that it's not just the minimum, what you have to do. It's what you put that extra work in. That's what's going to get you, not only on the field quicker in college and get you bigger, faster, stronger, smarter in the film room, but also gives you that chance at the next level.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of the biggest thing for me just going forward. Is it's always what it's been about. That's why I got the job early. That's why I started. That's why I had some success. Those kind of things that kind of fuel me to do what I had to do.
Good deal, man.
Yeah,
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Like I said, obviously you're more than welcome to come chop it up with me anytime.
yeah, that was
Um,
awesome.
I wish you nothing but the best for the rest of the season. And with that, I'll end it with make sure again you subscribe, you like the videos. We want to make this platform as big as possible, man. We want as many eyes to see them, see these young athletes as possible. And this is an open platform. I don't want to limit it to just football.
Yep.
Baseball, basketball, soccer. horseback ride, whatever you can earn a scholarship in, and you feel like you have a story to tell, I want to share your story. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get to see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
brother.